Well, you probably heard of the famous book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. The author of that book and several others, John Gray, here in the Bay Area.
Today, we welcome a man whose words have echoed across continents, transformed relationships, and redefined how we connect. As the best-selling author of over 50 million books sold in more than 50 languages, his masterpiece, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, sparked a worldwide conversation, became the top-selling nonfiction book since the 1990s. For over 40 years, he has guided couples and families towards more profound connections, emotional resilience, and relational harmony. As a celebrated speaker who electrifies stages with 100 plus global appearances annually, he blends science, soul, and storytelling to ignite the transformation. He taught us that men retreat to caves while women ride emotional waves, and human connection thrives on rhythm and understanding. So today, this is not going to be a casual conversation. This is going to be like a masterclass in human connection. And we're not just tuning in, we're tapping into the source. Please welcome the legendary Dr. John Gray.
That was an amazing introduction. So heartfelt. Thank you so much. And based on that, I'm going to let you guide this conversation. I can give talks all the time. I just did one for Facebook. Every Thursday, I do a talk on Facebook, hour and a half. But I'd like to make this interview guided by your questions for me. You let me know what you want me to talk about. I'll talk about it. Because as you can see, I've got 30 books behind me.
Wow.
So what to pick from. And I can pick a topic, but I want to hear you first.
Well, a lot of people who will also be watching this show come from training and coaching backgrounds, Dr. John, so they will be looking out for your guidance. Let me start with this question. Can somebody reach their full potential professionally if they live with relationship struggles in the background, either as a spouse or as a parent?
That's a really great question. And what research is showing today is that many women are happier at work than at home. That is not the way it should be. Most men, not all, are happier at home than at work. Okay, home for a man in the work world, you go home to find comfort. And that has always been the role for women in a man's life. Is men would do dirty, dangerous, difficult, stressful jobs, literally producing the hormone of danger. So we produce stress hormones when we feel danger. And today we don't look at saber-tooth dragons and tigers and that sort of thing. But the way the brain registers delays, frustrations at work, rejections at work, lack of money, too much money, not enough money, whatever. Those things are perceived by the brain as life and death stressors. Okay, so the brain doesn't just say, oh, this is cortisol being produced. My life's in danger. No, cortisol gets produced when you're late for an appointment, or you didn't get a sale, or you have doubts about how am I going to win this approval of someone. So men are designed to face that. Women are not. Just to know, biologically, there is a difference. Now, women can face that, but we have to adjust our understanding of how to help women cope with that. So a lot of the people that come to coaches are women. because they have experienced that when they can talk about things that are frustrating to them, topics that give rise to feelings of disappointment or sadness, topics that have to do with concerns, problems, worries, those kind of things. What will happen is by talking about it in a structured way, and we can talk about that structure for coaches, she will produce the hormones that she's not making at work. Okay, so what are these hormones? So it's a biology. So the basic premise is we all, as coaches and as individuals, part of what Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus was, is a understanding of some of the basic misinterpretations of each other. When men go to their cave, it's not because he doesn't love you. He needs to recover from stress. When women are talking about problems, it's not that they're not happy with you, men, it's that she needs to talk about them and then she can find her happiness for you. Okay. And what men have to learn is don't talk. Okay. Don't interrupt. Just ask questions and sort of, if it sounds like criticism, to dodge and duck. Don't take it personally. And to the extent you can do that, you'll have a happy wife. Now, why? Because when a woman can talk about, well, let's come back one step. So biologically now, hormonally, and that's what makes that hormones control our feelings control our behavior. And this is all programmed into us from childhood, and it's also biological that we all have it. And one of the key things that we have is that women need to make 10 times more estrogen, otherwise they'll produce stress hormones. All right? They need to make 10 times more estrogen. Men need to make 10 times more testosterone. Otherwise, they'll make stress hormones. Why do we not want stress hormones? Well, for a variety of reasons, but for one, that's true for both men and women. We're the same in this. When you have stress hormones, your brain has a bias of looking at the negative. Okay, so there you go. You lose your creativity. You cannot be in the moment. You either live in the future with your worries or you feel your regrets for the past. And you can't just be in the moment to take in fresh information if you're in a state of cortisol. And when a man has low testosterone, he will go into a state of cortisol. When a woman has low estrogen, she will be in a state of cortisol. So this becomes a whole way of looking at men and women, realizing that if I, as a coach or as a husband, can do things to help a woman raise her estrogen, her stress levels will go down and she will be able to solve her problems much more efficiently. Okay, we always will have problems, but how we connect with God is by receiving guidance to help us solve our problems. We can also say that's how we connect with our creative intelligence, but it's really the help of God, God's angels, whatever, that will come and help guide us through difficult periods of time. But the first thing, which is so important, is to recognize that there's no end to problems. We're all designed to have problems. And the male side of us is primarily enriched by solving problems, not the female side. Now, she needs to solve problems, have money to feed the kids, to do this. She has to solve problems, but hormonally, when a man can solve problems, he has a goal and he's taking action or has a strategy in his mind to achieve that goal, testosterone goes up. A man out of work with no problems that he's solving on a regular basis that he's good at will always be depressed or angry. His testosterone will go down. When a man is angry, his testosterone's going down and his female hormones are going up. So this is like a mind blower once you start to realize, okay, see, when a man's angry, you don't want his female hormones to go up. Well, what causes female hormones to go up? Well, we know that with all women. Why do they go to coaches? To talk about their feelings. So if you talk about your feelings, your estrogen goes up. If you're a woman, your stress goes down. If a man talks about his feelings, his estrogen goes up, his stress will go up too.
Wow.
So this is so paramount because You're in Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Egypt's a hot climate. And if you look at all hot climates, you see this in America and Hawaii, any hot climate, there's more violence. There's just more violence. Now, why is there more violence? It's because people are less, they don't have the cold winters to go
Mm.
inside and analyze, particularly with men. Because when a man is analyzing a problem, he takes the time to think, okay, what am I thinking? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? When he analyzes it, he makes testosterone.
Hmm.
If he doesn't have the ability, he doesn't have the experience of long periods of time where you have to think about your solutions without even acting on them. You have to analyze, okay, what's the best thing here? Why am I feeling this way? What's wrong? What's good? Analysis is a behavior that stimulates testosterone, the analysis to solve a problem. Now, to analyze why I feel like a victim will make estrogen. But if I
Oh,
analyze how to get rid of my problems, solve my problems, then I make testosterone. So, this tendency of men to not have cool, calm analysis and the ability to pause and think. The warm climates, people sort of go outside, they come out, they react. The heat is greater and it will tend to produce more estrogen in men.
oh,
So men need the estrogen. I'm sorry, men need the testosterone. And when they don't spend enough time inside thinking, analyzing, their estrogen levels go too high and they become angry. Now,
wow.
in the you're Muslim?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Muslim religion, you theoretically you should pray 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing at that time? Ideally, you're also connecting with water, which is cooling.
Yeah.
So this is the wisdom of it. You cool the body. And there's even research showing, even without doing prayers, I recommend prayers, of course, but without doing prayers, just washing your forearm, just washing
That's
your
so
four
right.
4 times a day, just washing your forearm will lower your blood pressure. Okay, so this is like amazing. People are taking drugs for blood pressure. Just do this 4 times a day, but add to it reflecting on what you feel inside, which is devotion to God and asking for help, praising God, asking for help. Basically, prayer is going inside for your answers rather than trying to go outside all the time to solve problems outside of you, to look inside. Okay, that I have help inside. So this is like a magical formula. However, our modern society is very different. And in our modern society, when men are not paid well for their work, okay, a lot of men out of work, a lot of men are underpaid. And when a man is underpaid for his work, his testosterone will go down.
Oh,
I need a message that I'm a success, that I make a difference for my testosterone to go up. And with the advent of internet, a man, everybody's comparing themselves. How do I know I'm good at something? How do I know I'm a good author? Well, so many people bought my book. People are telling me this. We have to compare. We're always comparing. Women compare. It's the source of all unhappiness is when we compare and we come up short. Okay, so we have to be able to compare and not come up short with something.
yeah.
Okay, so if I was to compare myself to a billionaire, then I would be coming short. But I compare myself to other authors in my specialty. Well, I'm the best at that. It could even be I'm the best in my town at that. Okay, so I have my own particular way where I'm the best. So that is success, feeling successful. And that's one way to feel successful. Another is in our culture, getting paid. If you're paid for what you do, that says I had value. That produces testosterone in men. So a man out of work has low testosterone. And so what he will do with low testosterone, it's stressful. And the way he copes with that stress is going to his female side. And he will, instead of doing what he has to do to solve problems, See, that's when you set a goal, every success program talks about write out your goals.
Yeah.
If you write out your goals every day, if you're a man, particularly for men, for women, not as necessary, but for a man, because women don't need as much testosterone as men. Writing out your goals, committing yourself to a goal, and then committing yourself to what you're going to do about that goal today, and then doing it. So maybe my goal is to be a billionaire. Well, I can't do that today, but what can I do today to be a billionaire? Okay, well, I could get up and edit my book, and I'll spend 3 hours doing it. All right. So as long as I spend 3 hours, as long as that's what I said I'm going to do and I do it, my testosterone goes up.
Mm.
So this is where men have to follow up. Now, another big aspect of where men are stressed today is, and I'm doing this, I know most of the women are coming, but they need to understand their husbands, okay?
Yeah.
This is like very,
100%.
very important because
Yeah.
one of the themes, I guess that's what I talked about on Facebook today, which was will be next week on Thursday as well, but it's diffusing anger.
Wow.
So that's a big theme. I'm moving towards that. I guess my soul wants to talk about that today. So
We're going to be adding the links to this,
yeah,
Dr. John, so
uh,
people can go and join.
people
Okay,
can
cool.
go and join that, and for today,
Yeah.
also next week. But that's when I really talked about diffusing anger. But what we're seeing here is that men have a propensity to be too angry, and the hotter the climate, the more angry they are. And that's a symptom. Called a stress emotion. Anger is a stress emotion. Fear is a stress emotion. Sadness is a stress emotion. Embarrassment is a stress emotion. Regret, sorrow, guilt, these are all stress emotions. So when you're stressed, if you can feel those emotions in a certain way, in a structured way, and not act on them, you can let them go. They just stop being produced. Now, for women, the way that happens is they come to a coach and you talk about what's bothering you. Now, you can get the most out of your counseling with a woman or a man if you talk about what's bothering you and what emotion it makes you feel. So I can say, oh, I could say, I lost this money in a business deal. Okay, that's going to produce a little estrogen. Women need
Ew.
more estrogen, right? But if I say I lost this money in the deal and I'm so frustrated, why am I frustrated? Because I thought I was going to make this amount of money and now I can't make that amount of money. And so now I'm frustrated because I can't do this and this and this. So see what I did there is I looked at a statement, which is superficial, what happened or what didn't happen. And I connected it to owning the emotion. Now, as a coach, what I'll do is I'll listen to women talk. They never get in touch with their actual emotion. Okay. They don't identify an emotion. They'll just talk around it. They talk around it, which does
Wow.
does produce some estrogen. But to have her just say, "Now, I could look at the situation. Your husband was angry with you. Let's say that's an example. And okay, are you feeling ignored? That's a very common thing. I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling ignored. And you'll tell me all the things he's not doing and what he's doing. You will experience, because you are sharing what you're feeling with another person who hears you, your estrogen levels will go up. Women have to talk about what they're feeling. But today, when we talk about what we're feeling, we actually don't. We talk about what we think. So that's like when you say, I feel like he doesn't love me, you're feeling what you think. There's no release that takes place. And actually, when you say, I feel like my husband doesn't love me, or I feel like it's not safe, or I feel like I can never get what I want. And women will do this a lot. I feel like statements. Can you relate to that? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that all the time. So you talk about a problem and you say, well, how does that make you feel? And then women will say, go into, I feel like. So if I feel like he doesn't love me, we'll take that as an example. Actually, you're suppressing the emotion of, I feel sad that he doesn't love me.
Ah.
You're suppressing. Actually, so you'll go and you actually end up getting some temporary relief because somebody's listening to you, but you're actually continuing a bad habit and you don't get the full benefit of talking to a coach is if you can actually say, okay, I feel like he doesn't love me. Okay, what emotion does that feel? And for any feeling thought you have, that's an I feel like statement. There's always, you can't always find them, but they're always there. And you can let go of that negative belief when you can feel the emotion. It will just go away. Because if you say, oh, I feel like my husband doesn't love me, you'll feel better, but you'll walk away still concluding my husband doesn't love me, but I feel better because I can talk about it. My stress level goes down. But if you can say, I feel like my husband doesn't love me, and what emotion does that make you feel? You have to top what makes me feel hurt. That's usually the one women come up with the most, which
Yeah.
is, I feel hurt. All right, now use the phrase, I feel hurt when he doesn't listen to me. I feel hurt when he says this. So you have to say, I feel the hurt, and what behavior outside caused you to feel the hurt. So you have to be specific. So now I feel hurt because yesterday he said he was going to do this and he didn't do that. I feel hurt when, so there's three kinds of feelings there. There's, I feel hurt that he said this and this and this. I feel hurt when he ignores me. And then I feel hurt because what I want from him is his affection and his love and his support. So I went through three very, very important concepts there. I feel an emotion that he did in response to he did this and this. So I feel hurt that he said this and this and this. I feel hurt because, okay, that's another exploration. See, this is going deep into emotions. This is called non-superficial talk. A lot of what
Yeah.
goes on in counseling and coaching is a lot of superficial talk.
Ah,
But for women, they will produce some estrogen because she's talking to another woman, particularly a woman, or it could be a man, but particularly a woman who shares the same experience. So there is a need which gets produced, and we have these emotional needs. And one of those needs is to feel included, to feel you're not alone. So that's good. So talking to somebody always helps clarify things. It helps you feel you're not alone. But the profound healing takes place where people walk away feeling transformed is when they can identify emotions. And people are afraid of that because if somebody's hurting, it's never just hurt. This is the next step of the wisdom is I go, okay. And I was just listening to a client today and you know, she's going on talking. And I can already start to feel if I was her, I'd feel like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Right? So I will say, now tell me, use the phrase, I hate. Okay. And then have her say that a few times and then say, and I'm angry. I'm angry. My husband is ignoring me. I'm angry. My husband is telling me this and this and this when really he did this and this and this. I'm angry about this. And the key is to get her to feel, and some women can easily feel the anger, but not the hurt. Some women can feel the hurt, but not the sadness. Some women can just feel the fear. So depending upon our childhood history, for example, if your father was very angry, you can't express anger. Okay, you get beat up, right? So you used to push down your anger. So you'll end up just feeling other emotions, like I feel so hurt, or I feel so sad, or others will feel, I feel so powerless. I feel afraid all the time. I have anxiety. So based upon childhood experiences and your parents' childhood experience and their experience, see, this is a lineage of genetic programming that gets passed on from one generation to another. So that's okay. You start with where you are and you can rewire the brain. When you express emotions, this is now more science. When you're able to express a negative emotion at a time where you're feeling safe. See, women get emotional, men get all emotional, but they're upset with somebody, right? But if you're
yeah.
sitting if you're in a safe setting, okay, there's no danger around you. And in that safe setting, your brain is now recalling what is going on when you think about what happened in the past. Your brain will let it go because you're safe. Your brain says, don't need to hold on to those emotions anymore. Don't need to hold on to those emotions. So the worst thing we can do is to express negative emotion to change somebody. Whenever you use negative emotions like angry at your husband and angry at your husband, and you say, you shouldn't do that. How could you do that? And why would you do that? All what you're doing is you're training your brain to become more emotional.
Oh,
And negative emotions because you're using negative emotions to get what you want. You think you're going to get what you want. You never will. But your brain is using it like a monkey will growl and scare you away and it will work. But as a man doing it, your wife will just close down. She'll close her heart. You won't get what you want. Men have to learn And I teach my men this, anytime you're angry, you should know your masculinity is going down. Your testosterone
Wow.
is going down. Your femininity is coming up. And a woman will see you with fear, but she'll see you as immature. She won't feel that you're a masculine man. She won't feel you're someone she can depend on, be protected by, but that your protector has become somebody you have to protect yourself from.
Wow.
Eh,
Wow.
Now, this is profound, and it goes into, I'm going to use a little example here, is when you grow up and you see an angry father and a mother who can't open her heart and feel trust to her father, whatever, to the father, what you learn, it becomes an imprint. And this imprint is from many generations back, and it's in everybody to some extent, because before civilization, might was power was might, and now might is power. Now it's wisdom is power. Connections, thinking, logic. There's a different things, but it used to be just how big you are and how ferocious you are gets you what you want. And this is embedded in men when they're out of control. See, when a man loses control of himself or of a situation where he can't be the person he wants to be, he can't achieve his goal. When a man can't achieve his goal, he's out of control. That means his testosterone just went low. That means his stress hormone is being produced. That means that now his thinking is hijacked by the most primitive part of the brain, by his history. And history in
Oh,
the Middle East is bigger was better, angrier was more controlling. And so what happens when you're in that stress state, it's literally like your brain becomes hijacked and you're looking at life through different glasses. And for a man, the glasses keep him from feeling love. And for a
mm,
woman, the glasses keeps her from feeling trust. And when a
mm,
woman can't trust, she can't really open her heart to a man. Now, here's the now all you have to do is lower your stress levels and that disappears. Okay, so it's not like we're in that state all the time. Now, some people are in that state all the time because they experience chronic stress. So that's like clinical depression, that's like anxiety. Uh, and so what happens is if my wife is talking to me and she's in a stress state, she can't trust me.
mm.
You can't trust, you're putting out a message of, I can't trust you. And whenever a man gets the message from someone he loves and he's close to that, you can't trust me, that's the biggest insult you can give to a man. See, we want to be your hero, and
Yeah.
now we're the villain. You see, it causes then an immediate stress response in him. So you're both in cortisol state. And what I'll talk more about next Thursday, but I'll say right now, so to diffuse the anger, when you start seeing a man getting angry, what women will typically do is they go to their own, well, what makes me feel better if I'm angry if I can talk about it? So you have the misinterpretation of men thinking if I can get him to talk and explain himself and express
Uh,
himself, that he will eventually become feel better. He will feel more resolved. He will feel good. But no, if a man is starting to become angry and you ask him a question or engage him in a conversation, he will only become angrier.
uh,
No exception. The only exception for that is if he started to get angry and I'm not recommending this, but just to know this is the exception, which is not a healthy exception, but it's then you would just basically say, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. I will do whatever you say. And you bow down and you submit to him because you submit makes him feel back in control. But that's dysfunctional. That's
mm,
might is right. Oh, here's
mm.
that was the old saying was might is right as opposed to right is might.
Might. Wow.
Do the right thing, men, and a woman will love you. But if you just overpower her, dominate her with your anger, she can't love you. But a long time ago, the way women protected themselves from these angry men who could get out of control was by becoming doormats.
Oh,
You just say, okay, whatever you say is right. But what would happen then is she's pushing herself down. She's repressing, she's suppressing who she is. So she doesn't, every time she does that, a layer of her joyful and her happiness goes away and goes away and goes away. So the solution is how to diffuse a man's anger. And the most important thing is, if you watch the movies and there's like a bomb scare and the guy comes out and he's got all his equipment on, and you always get to the moment where there's two wires, the red wire and the green wire. Which one do you cut? Cut the wrong wire, you get the explosion. Well, women typically cut the wrong wire. What they do
Oh,
is they they ask questions. Why would you say that? How could you do that? You, what were you feeling? Why do you feel that way? You see how that goes? Can you get a sense
yeah.
of, you're a woman, so these are the instincts that women have to, if men just had those instincts, everything would go away. We just don't have those instincts. If a woman's upset, what we need to learn is, well, help me understand why you feel that way, and tell me more about that. And well, what were you thinking then? So we don't instinctively do that. All we do is respond to we want to make women happy. So you ask us questions, we will answer. And now let's compound this with modern psychology that seems to think that everybody should talk about their feelings. Men should not talk to their wives about their feelings, particularly about anything that's, positive feelings, yes. He should not complain and whine about his problems at work. All that does is shut her down. It makes
Yes,
her
Becky.
become like a mother. He doesn't know this, because whenever he complains out loud, what's happening? Frustrations, disappointments, guilt, feeling bad, feeling sorry for himself. Woe is me, or that's terrible. They did that again. Any of this whining and complaining that men now do. They didn't used to do that, by the way, if they had
Yeah.
role models. See, we used to have role models of fathers who didn't do that. But today we might have had fathers who are too dominant, but clearly to soften up men so they're not too dominant, now we got men who are more on their female side and they want to talk about their feelings. And
Mm,
and then she needs to talk about her feelings. But if you get a guy who's whining and complaining all the time, she becomes like a mother and disconnected from her feelings.
yeah.
So so there's a lot of dynamics here. But before I go further with it, we've covered a lot of points. Tell me what you've learned or what questions you have about what I've said so far.
You're so right. I mean, this is exactly the wrong dynamic that people follow.
Yeah,
And this is where you really come in with your transformation, Dr. John.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, when men start talking about their feelings, it gets messy, especially if it's like their negative feelings.
Right. So
So,
the opposite of that is, don't ask him how he feels. Give him more cave time. Okay, that's the idea.
yeah,
Give him more cave. Now, but in a sense, if a man is ever irritated and annoyed, bothered, starting to get angry, grumpy, any of that stuff that happens to men, know that already his stress hormones are increasing. And any talking about his feelings, anytime you're listening to him, you're only going to increase his stress level. He needs to be put in his cave. He's not
yeah.
taking his cave time. And so that's why it's important to understand that when men withdraw from women and don't talk to her, he actually could be rebuilding his testosterone. It's the
Mm,
opposite of talking about his feelings. He needs, and this is real, he needs a distraction. See, women cannot process feelings by being distracted. All a man has to do is, I can go watch a football game and forget all my problems.
that's so good.
Yeah, that's what I can do. I can watch the news. I can forget all my problems. I can go swimming. I can go to the gym and I'll forget all my problems. It will distract me by anything that uses my analysis or connects me with my emotions or connects me with my muscles. Any of those things help to rebuild testosterone.
Mm,
Because when I'm in my emotions, but I'm not my emotions, I'm feeling the emotions of my team. I'm all excited. Yeah, winning, we're winning, we're winning, we're losing. So there's a place of distraction where it's not
yeah.
really my problem. Okay, I can feel the problem, other people's problem, so to speak. It's not real, but it's a distraction, temporary. Shouldn't do it all the time, but it's a way for him to unlock from being upset about from mulling over, okay, what do I have to do about this? I can't do anything about this. I'm still worried about this. Anytime a man can't do something about something, his testosterone goes down.
Yeah.
So we have an ability that has to be developed to solve problems, and when you can't do anything about it, to temporarily forget it. Okay. Now, many men don't use that ability now. It's like an ability, it's a potential. Men have that potential. Women do not have that potential. All they can do is suppress. See, they
Ugh.
suppress their feelings, but then there's tension just increases. They feel overwhelmed. They feel more stressed. They're not relaxed. They can't open their heart. So for women, they're not designed to forget. They're designed to remember.
Yes.
And you can look at actually the brain science of this, and that the hippocampus becomes active when you're remembering things. A woman's hippocampus is twice as big as a man's.
Oh, goodness.
And when a woman is experiencing moderate stress, and increasing stress, blood flow increases 3 times to that part of her brain.
Oh, no.
But to a man's brain, it stops. We're designed to disconnect from remembering, to forget it just temporarily. We still have some memory, but we forget it. For women, they're designed to remember, because you have to remember the problems in order to talk about the problems. Now, talking about the problems is the alarm system. Solving the problems is like the fireman. But you have to have the alarm system. My house has an alarm system that actually has been going on recently, and by mistake.
Thank God.
And then this big loud noise happens, and they call me, and I have to say false alarm. But I didn't have my phone on at the time. It ran out of juice, so then I couldn't call them. And so, you have to go up the mountain to get to my house, and it's a fire truck, and this is false alarm. And I'm over here feeling terrible, like feeling really, really bad that these guys had to drive their truck all the way up here, and well, I said, I'm so sorry, false alarm. He said, no problem, no problem. We had a good time. He's not doing anything. He's sitting around waiting for the problem. So women are the alarm system. Men are the solution. And so peace can happen is when women can recognize, now this is a little subtlety, this is advanced thinking, but I just want you to know, when you're the problem and a man is the solution, he will die for you. If he is the problem, he'll do nothing for you. If he is the solution, he's motivated. If he is the solution, his heart is open. If he is the solution, he will die for you. No question about it. He'll sacrifice without complaint. Now, women, they sacrifice, but they complain. But actually, sacrifice for a noble cause produces testosterone, and there's nothing to complain about as long as he gets paid. Otherwise, it wasn't for a noble cause. And when a man does something for his wife, what is the payment? The payment is that she's happy and appreciates him. Now, here's the thing here is that women know men want you to be happy, and men want women to be happy. So a lot of times women just pretend to be happy.
Oh.
Okay, so, and that's a lot of pressure. The only way you can pretend to be happy is to suppress your frustrations, your disappointments, your concerns, and your worries and whatever. And so you really don't have high estrogen. You're just pretending to be happy, which causes testosterone. It doesn't help you lower your stress levels. So I've seen women who are just pretend like everything's fine, everything's wonderful, and yet they don't have estrogen in their body. Their body is stressed, and they have no real sexual attraction to their husband. And that is a part of marriage, is having all of that functioning, working well. It doesn't work well if you suppress your emotions. That's sort of like the real test. Although women, I see women say, I'm happy and everything's wonderful, but they're taking anxiety medication, or they don't sleep well at night, or they're, taking depressant, or they're taking drugs. That we can fool ourselves quite a bit, but they do it out of survival because they don't realize that being unhappy is a part of life. Life is problems. A woman's job is to feel the suffering of those problems. And a man's job is to take away the suffering from you. And that makes him happy, and that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So if you were happy all the time, a man would not be interested in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has no job.
That's right.
Yeah. He has nothing to feel successful about. So the practicality of this is give him problems that he can solve. One, it used to be, if you look at traditional culture, women raised children and men provided money to raise those children, and women were grateful for that. So she was the problem. We need money. I have a problem here. I need you to solve it. Today, that's not the case. Today, she's making money as well. So when she makes money as well, her dependence on him for making money becomes less. Certainly, she still depends on him, but not like before. It could be a man would say, "Oh, I'm so tired, I can't do anything," and she'll say, "Oh, you're doing so many things today that I don't want to do, and I'm so grateful that you're doing them. I'm happy to do all this for you." But if she's out there doing stuff that she doesn't want to do, and he's tired from his day, and he comes home and says, "Well, I'm so tired," and she says, "Well, I'm tired too. What are you going to do for me?" You see that there's a change. Men and women are still men and women different, but the problems we're facing are completely different as soon as women are more independent, or they live in a culture which makes women more independent. And then throw in this whole idea of the internet. The
Yeah.
internet immediately caused suffering to everybody because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. If you're living in a little village, you don't know that somebody's living in a palace somewhere else. And if there may be one person living in a palace and you have the idea that they're blessed by God and one day you'll be able to be blessed by God too. But, now we see all these people and they appear to be so much happier and whatever. And anybody who's ever posed for pictures knows that you can be with your family and all this tension's going on and everybody's unhappy, but we're going to take a picture. Hi, hey, look how good I look, and whatever. So, and we even have filters on our videos. So we
Yeah.
better. Everything's fake and false today. And to a great extent, not everything. But what we want to do is to connect with reality. And women are more grounded to reality than men. There's
Yeah.
actually a biological response inside of men. Under moderate stress, men become unrealistically optimistic. That's why we can take so many risks. We
Wow.
become unrealistically optimistic, but we can be optimistic. So, and then when we lose control, then we become super negative. But we start out
Mhm.
by being super optimistic. Women start out by being super pessimistic. Okay, so this is
Wow.
under moderate stress. What women will have is a surge of blood flow to the emotional part of the brain, to the memory of the brain, and think of everything that could go wrong or notice what has gone wrong. But this isn't all the time. This is where a woman can understand her own cycle and a man can start to understand a woman's cycle. So a woman's mind will start focusing on what's missing. For the first 5 days after period, she doesn't need much, so she's not looking at what's missing. And the next 5 days, her brain's going to go, okay, what am I missing here? Well, I'm missing a man because you can't have like a baby without a man. I'm missing a man. I'm missing financial support. I'm missing ease and comfort.
Wow.
I'm missing good weather. I'm missing a safe home. The brain will start to look at what you're missing so that you can get a baby and bring it into the world. This is just so when you're missing something, you're disappointed, you're sad, you're frustrated, you're angry, or you're afraid. These are emotions that will come up at that time. First, the emotions come. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a emptiness. And for some women it will be disappointment. Someone will be angry. Someone will be tired of. It will start to show up, and you don't notice this. All you know is your mind is busy looking for what's missing. And
Yeah. Hypersensitivity.
that's it, hypersensitivity. Now, that's the time when you practice the Venus talk. That's the most important time to talk to your therapist, although it can be on a regular basis, is very important. And what happens is when a woman is looking forward to being able to talk about her feelings, she gets the benefit right then of talking about her feelings. I'll
Yeah.
just say that again. Just like if I'm looking forward to making a lot of money, even though I'm not working hard right now making that money, but I'm going to make it on my trip, for example, already I feel successful. My testosterone goes up, anticipating success. Well, for women, anticipating getting the support of sharing your feelings, already your estrogen's going up.
Yeah.
That's why regular being able to look forward to someone. Then when you're going in your work world, you're not necessarily stress suppressing all your emotions. A part of your brain's going, well, we don't have to push that away. We have to just withhold that until we get a chance to share it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it gets put on hold, but not suppressed. Suppressed only creates more cortisol in your body. But knowing that I have an outlet for that, I will be able to talk about it, is very powerful for women.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. And then to be able to talk about the emotions, I explored that one as well. We talked about the importance of looking for. In all my books, I list out all the emotions that you need to look for, even if you do one or two of them. But generally, the first emotion, let's say somebody, I feel hurt, it's the go-to for everybody. And the reason for that is it's the victim mentality. Whenever you feel hurt, you're in victim mentality, because anytime you're stressed, you're in a victim place. So it identifies that place. But you don't want to ever stay stuck in I feel hurt. And you never want to say that to your husband.
Yeah.
If you say what you feel it, I'm saying that's not appropriate to share with you. Don't have to suppress it. You can talk to somebody else about it, because your feeling of hurt will go away once the limbic system becomes anchored into the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, if you're just functioning from your prefrontal cortex, you can't feel hurt. The hurt part of you, you'll feel disappointed. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling hurt, it's because there's no blood flow going to your adult self. You're in a primitive childlike state at that moment.
Oh.
And you feel powerless. You see, it's only as children where we're powerless. So you're reliving your childhood, and when you're doing that. So just to know that you don't just express all your emotions to your partner. Anytime you feel hurt, you're going to be mistrusting. And when you're mistrusting, you're going to activate his own fight or flight response.
Oh.
So back to, and I know we already talked almost an hour, so we'll finish up soon, but the diffusing of the anger, what do you actually do? We talked around it. Well, one thing is women learn to stop encouraging a man to talk about his feelings. Just period. When a man is quiet, he's processing what's going on. Don't interrupt the process. If my wife is quiet, I need to get her to talk.
Wow.
Okay, so it's the opposite. And then next thing, and most men go, oh, she's quiet, good, I don't want to talk to her. he assumes that if she's quiet, she's working it through. But no, when a woman's quiet, she's going, I don't feel I can talk to you. I don't trust you. If you
Shutting
really love,
down.
what's that?
She's shutting down.
Yeah, she's shutting down, and she's also feeling a lot of mistrust and unhappiness towards you. Whereas if a man is shutting down, he's not really shutting down in the way a woman does. He just needs time to process it. He needs time. There is a place where a man does shut down, but when a man shuts down, it's very temporary. When a woman shuts down, it's very permanent. So she puts more fear into him shutting down. There's one place where I'm just in my cave and I'm forgetting my problems. There's another one where I'm in an argument with my wife and she's saying things, I'm talking, and at a certain point, my estrogen goes so high, it will just completely knock the testosterone down, and I have no feeling at all. He cannot control this. He will actually have absolutely no feeling, which that state is what a woman experiences after many, 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 many years of chronic stress. She will shut down and never open up to a certain extent without working on herself. It will just, but a man, all he has to do is when he shuts down is be away from her for a while and do other things that stimulate testosterone. Like he could just drive his motorcycle. He could go drive his dog. He can go to the gym. He can go drinking with the buddies. He can go solving problems. He can actually play video games, although I don't recommend it. It's too addictive. But anything to distract his attention, healthier things would be to pray, meditate, exercise. These are your healthiest things to do to distract or to analyze a problem and solve it. Go back to work and solve something. So those would be healthier ways for men to do it. Anything will distract him. Now, what you have to do, so when you notice, this is called diffusing his anger. If you're starting to argue, then you have to stop talking. You have to stop talking because he can't keep talking if you keep talking. So you have to stop talking and walk out of the room. And what you do is you say something complimentary. You're right about that. I need to think about it, and just walk out of the room. And you can have this conversation with him at another time, not by making him wrong, but just saying, sometimes I get upset and I can't hear what you say, and you deserve to have me hear what you say. So at those times when I'm reacting and you don't deserve that, then I'm going to say, that makes sense, or what a good idea that was. Or just simply I can say, I just need to think about this and we'll talk later, and walk out of the room. Make no eye contact when you say that. Just walk out of the room. And then you're training him. And then what you do is within 10 minutes, you come back at a nice with a nice mood. Okay, because you didn't get too stimulated.
Yeah.
Part of resilience is the ability to be triggered a little bit, take time, and come back. And
Yeah.
if you can take time after feeling threatened and then come back, you're actually creating a change. It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain is starting to change, and so will his brain change. Because once a woman gets a little upset with a man, he thinks she's going to stay upset forever unless I change my point of view. That's just ingrained in us. Because when women do eventually leave men, they go, I'm not changing my point of view. Okay. I've got so much stress built up. I've shut down so hard. So there's a deep conditioning inside of men, which is that if a woman is upset with him, unless he can explain to her why she shouldn't be upset, she will stay upset. He doesn't know, he doesn't have to explain anything to her. He just has to make it okay for her to be upset and
Yeah.
understand her feelings. She will come back to being forgiving and loving and supportive. But he doesn't know how to do that. You can't expect a man to know how to do that. This is an advanced skill. What you can
Yeah.
do as a woman to see your side of it, which is to realize how you amplify his anger by asking questions, getting him to talk, and noticing, because you have the sensitivity. As soon as you start to feel any sense that you have to hide yourself, hold back, or change him in any way, if you feel that, all of a sudden you're going to activate him. And so what you
Yeah.
do is you say to whatever he just said, let me think about that. That makes sense. And walk out of the room and we'll talk in a little while. And that's it. Or let's not talk about this till tomorrow. But the first thing
Yeah.
to say is, let me get out of the room. You have to get out of the space. Space is a very big reality. If I was one of these guys that gets in fights, I don't. But if I was a guy who gets in fights and I wanted to fight somebody, because sometimes men just have so much frustration, they just want to go beat somebody up, okay? Because they don't have a woman in their life who's loving him. What men need is a woman in their life that's loving them. And ultimately, they needed a mother who loved them,
Yeah.
but they needed a mother who also loved their father. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a sick kind of love when a mother loves a child because he's not like dad.
No.
That's a sickness. But if my mother loves my dad to a great extent, then it's easy for a man to feel more love. But even still, we depend on women, a woman's love, to raise our testosterone to the highest level.
Yeah.
And so when we talked about the whole problem of this internet world, men are always comparing themselves now with millionaires and billionaires and all that and feeling less than. That just knocks your testosterone down. What makes you better than any billionaire is a wife who's happy to see you when you come home. Biologically, a wife who's happy to see you when you come home is more testosterone producer than any billions of money. Just to know that this is why billionaires all are drug addicts and they cheat on their wives and they
Stressed out.
and you have no idea if they go into rehab. Movie stars are all in rehab because their life is a mess. They look good on the outside, their life is a mess, but we don't know that. The brain thinks, oh, they've got it all together. Look at that suit, look at that car, look at that. I'm such a loser. And that's going to be there. The way you counteract that is you come home to a woman who loves you and children who think you're the greatest thing in the world. And that's the same thing for a mother as well. Her children give her so much. But her husband also can't give what that is. He can provide something else, which is safety. And so what we're talking about is when a woman can know that we have she makes a guideline with him. Just talk to him and just say, look, I have all these issues inside. I feel insecure. And sometimes when you raise your voice or when there's a problem, I just freak out. It's not you. Try to make him the hero. It's not you. I just need to take a time out. And men can pretty much relate to timeout. So you make an agreed upon exit strategy. So you've agreed upon this. And now I'm just going to tell you my advanced technique that
Yeah, please.
when you've used these tools and you're good at it, life gets so much easier. Because I'm a guy, I have a tendency to go to my female side. That's okay. You want to always keep it in balance. It's just when it goes too far to your female side. So if ever something happens that's upsetting me and I'm pouting or I'm not in a good mood or I'm spewing a little negativity, frustrated, mad at somebody, whatever, I've instructed my wife, this is the way you can support me. Walk up to me and say, John, you're overreacting. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Suck it up. I love it when she does it because I'm a man. I would never say that to a woman. It wouldn't feel good to a woman. And if it does, she's on her male side. But men have to realize I don't want to go too far to my female side. And anytime I have negative emotions, my estrogen is too high, my testosterone too low, I need a little tough message. And the message is
Yeah.
suck it up. Don't whine. Don't complain. So I found the right words for me. You're overreacting. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Basically, that's it. And then the best part of it is just suck it up. And I say, thank you. Okay, now that's an advanced technique that once your husband starts to realize all these things are true, but long before he needs to realize anything, women need to understand this stuff and start solving the problem because you are the masters of relationship. This is why my book that's coming out this year is only for women. You don't need a man to read it. It's called Be Happy With or Without a Man. Because when you can be happy without a man or when your man's ignoring you, men will come to you. If you're a single woman, men want a woman who's feminine. And so if you can,
Yeah.
but the book is all about that and it's powerful. And this is just one of the pages in that book. I was just editing on how to diffuse
Wow.
a man's anger. It's so rich with
That's brilliant.
information. But well, let me just let you know that the key to this is learning as women emotional intelligence. Besides gender intelligence is what we've been talking about. Emotional intelligence is a little bit about what we talked about talking about I feel like whatever you say, it's what people do. They're suppressing the emotion that what you're really feeling inside. So I feel like you don't love me. When you say this, I feel sad. When you say this, I feel angry. When you say this, when this happens, I feel this emotion. When you can feel an emotion, your brain will, if it's a negative emotion, your brain will automatically begin the process of self-correcting. When you I feel like statement, your brain doesn't correct anything. You're actually affirming that to be true.
Yeah.
Absolutely affirming. You're affirming the negative whenever you say, I feel like. But when you say, but you do it, people do this. So when you say, I feel like, then step back and go, okay, I feel like you don't love me. Well, what are you doing that makes me feel that way? And then, like, when you said this, it makes me feel angry or it makes me feel sad. It makes me feel afraid. And you need to become friends and aware of these emotions that are inside. They're always inside. Women's bodies are designed to feel those emotions because it's how you let go of stress. They are your stress reactions. Uh, they're stress emotions. And by feeling those emotions, you connect them to your prefrontal cortex of the brain, and it will let them go with a greater awareness of what you want or what you're wishing for, what you're hoping. You write out that as well, or you share that. And once you feel that, having let go of the negative emotion, clearing what I want, your brain then goes to work to give you the message of how to get what you want. And to put that in spiritual terms, you feel more clearly what you're wanting on an emotional level. God hears those answers. If you just like don't really care that much, I like this, I wish that, or you're complaining, that's not as powerful as pulling in the divine energy by reminding yourself of that. And here's the fun part. And I do have to finish up here. This has been such a pleasure talking to you.
This is
The
so powerful what you just shared. Yeah, please
Thank
tell
you.
us the fun part.
The fun part is that I've spent 15 years, and now because of the Chat GPT, it's easy for me to program this app that I've been developing, where you just simply the app asks you 4 questions. It takes your 4 questions, and through an algorithm that I've developed, it will actually put it into an emotional process expressing what your emotions are, why you're having those emotions, what you need to hear. Imagine hearing that. Imagine then having heard that, how it would make you feel, what insights you would gain, and what plan of action you'll take. And it does all of that for you.
How do we get to that app?
It will come. It's coming this year. It's coming this year. I'm working on it. So
Wow,
really,
that's
within
amazing
in three
news.
minutes, let's do another interview, and we'll actually do the app online, and you'll see how
Yes,
powerful
please,
it is.
please. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
And,
mean,
and so
can I mean, you can we lock this, can we lock in this interview with to show people the app?
what's that?
Can we like, yeah, I mean, can you
Oh,
offer us another interview to show people the app,
that's
how
what
to
I
use
said.
it?
6 months. Call me up for 3 months. We'll discuss this, and then with the app, uh, what you do with your coach is anything that's bothering you in your life. Anytime you're stressed, you could just do this process with your app, and then you
Wow.
go to your coach and you read to your coach what the process was. It does a readout for you. You read that to your coach, and your coach can even read it back to you. It's very profound because it does it enough just doing the process for yourself. It increases your emotional intelligence of your inner wisdom, what you're thinking, what your feelings are, what you're wanting, because it asks you these questions and it organizes it based upon my experience of when somebody's feeling, like I said, when you're feeling your husband's ignoring you, it's an I feel hurt. If somebody is uh, holding you back, it's going to come back to I feel frustrated because someone's holding me back. So it will actually intelligently bring you awareness to what your emotions are, and helps you to process them the way I teach to do it. And so you would do that on your own. It will always create relief. But you go to your coach and you share it with them, and that even makes it more powerful.
Wow.
There's a class which one of my friends teaches, and it's a class on public speaking. And what you do when you're public speaking, it's not that much on public speaking. It's about being in groups of like 12 people, and everybody shares regrets, and then everybody shares disappointments, and then everybody shares things they've never shared with anybody else. Everybody shares something they're ashamed of. So you share stuff that you've never shared with anybody else in a group where everybody else is doing it. So it's literally everybody feels connected through this process. And the outcome of that is you feel tremendous confidence that you can express who you are, because you're no longer a fake person. Because it's part of us feels that if I can't share who I am, then if you love me, but you don't really know all my problems.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go tell all your audiences your problems. You don't have to tell your business worker, just a few people. And when you can have that experience of a few people all having similar feelings, you feel you're not alone. And that then you don't have this guard up, because as children, when things happen to us and we can't share it with our parents because we'll get in trouble, or they'll be disappointed with us, or they'll think less of us, we hide ourselves from our parents. Then let's say I cheated on a test at school, but I'm not going to tell my parents. And my parents say, "Oh, you're so smart. You're so good. I love you so much." A part of your consciousness goes, "Yes, but if you knew that I cheated on the test, you wouldn't love me." And therefore, we push love out. So, to the extent that we cannot share who we are with our parents, we've already built up a wall that says people won't love us. And that is the foundation of why people have public speaking anxiety. It's just simply, I have none, because I've done this so many times with groups and so forth, and done the healing. And that's part of what the app does, is you feel safe to go deep in it. But then when you share it with your coach, who also will kind of go, "Wow, I completely connect. I'm right there with you." Uh, it does a profound opening to let in the love of the world, because we all deserve love, and we all will be forgiven for our mistakes, and we all deserve that.
Yeah, that's so massive. That's massive value, Dr. John. Really
Thank you.
can't thank you enough
Well,
for
I hope
being
this
here
was
today and
helpful.
sharing all of this amazing value with
Now,
everybody who's
I
going to
just
be
want
watching this episode.
everybody to know, to enhance their coaching abilities, if you'd like more gender and emotional intelligence to share with your clients, we also have a course, which is a training program called Mars Venus Coaching. And so people can check that out online if you
Can
would
we
like.
add in all of these links, like with the episode? Like, can I get all of these links and just add the link for the app, the course,
If
like
you
books
well, we don't have the app yet, but you can say,
coming soon?
if there is marsvenus.com/contact. You can always ask to be on our list for the app, even the beta version, the first version we can send to you, and you can test it out.
Oh, that's so
You can
nice.
ask
Okay.
for that. And also, when you do contact us, there's a sheet that comes up. You can also, I was going to ask something else, but anyway. Oh, it's called marsvenuscoaching.com. You might go there and just check the site out, marsvenuscoaching.com. If you go there, you can learn about our coaching program to train people how to become coaches, how you can get coaching, go to our coaches. And I have to say, in the Middle East, we have the highest concentration of Mars Venus coaches. And
Wow.
when Yahoo came out, back when the internet was just starting and everything, 80% of the people who went to my website were from Egypt. They're my big friends. I think I have many bonds to Egypt. For fun, I'll share with you. I've actually climbed the pyramid twice. I've been to Egypt 8 times.
Wow.
Big part of my life. So anyway, back to contacting. So that's something we have. And for people want to learn to be a Mars Venus coach. We have a wonderful online program for that, a 3-month program, a 6-month program, and a 1-year program, depending upon how much training you want. You get a certificate and all of that. So people can check that out. When you come to my Facebook on Thursdays,
Facebook.
The man who interviews me there is Rich. He's the head of the Mars Venus coaching. So he's good. Then there's the other one, which is called Understanding Men. It's our most popular course for helping women, 6-week course to understand men and their cave and why they come and go and why they get irritable. And some of the things I said today about diffusing anger, that's all in this course called Understanding Men. And that's something you can take as a woman, and you can actually have your husband take it with you, because it's fun for men to realize what women don't understand about men, because men just assume that you understand us. And then it like explains how different we are. So it's an indirect way for men to see themselves without being seen as the problem. What I've learned, and I mentioned in this interview, anything we do to make the man the problem sabotages the relationship. Anything a woman does to say, I am the problem, but you can solve the problem by doing this and this and this, it opens the
Smart
door,
tactic,
opens
smart
the door.
strategy.
Yeah, it's a whole, it's changing the whole paradigm of relationship, and it just can help so much for people. There's kind of like women on their male side, they have the same ego as a man, which is they never want to be wrong. But if you can actually go, I'm just not happy right now and I need your help. I need to talk about my feelings. It will only be 10 minutes. I'm going to share some of the problems, and you're not the problem. I'm not asking you to change in any way. So it's not really complaining. It's just sharing. And you'll see afterwards, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to appreciate. I'm going to be proud of myself. So that's the training that goes on with the Venus talk. And all of that is in my book, Beyond Mars and Venus. Have you read that book, Beyond?
No, but I'm definitely gonna go and get
That's
it.
the
Like
one
I was watching.
that's the book that has all of the hormone information. And one of my other books is my coaches, the Mars Venus coaches, say it's their favorite book, which is How to Get What You Want and Want What You Have, because that's a lot of what coaching's about, is achieving your goals and so forth. And we have a unique process, which is certainly coaching helps people be accountable, and that's a big thing that everybody needs. But more than that, we have the gender intelligence to kind of guide people. And more than that, we have the emotional intelligence, which is when you set goals, then you have the accountability of what held you back. And then when you look at what held you back, we have the emotional processing skills to process those emotions. Because anything that holds you back from getting what you want is some kind of unresolved issue inside of you. So we bring in that emotional intelligence that goes with it, and we have a system, it's a structure. So that's a good book. It also has the details how to do it. It's called How to Get What You Want and Want What You Have, another very popular book by my coaches.
Wow. And if like for relationship coaches, Dr. John, you think like what are the must-read books
Okay,
that
so
they
there's
have to read?
the relationship. Men Are from Mars is the foundation. Even I'm writing these. I've got 6 books just for women only. And then women say, "Well, how do I get my husband to read it?" You don't need your husband to read it. All you need is these skills. You can bring out the best in a man. And then when he sees you changing, he'll say, "What is this?" Then have him read Men Are from Mars.
Yeah.
Men Are from Mars is the classic, it's the foundation, and it's what men need to know. But these other books are not trying to change men in any way, because what I've realized, anytime you attempt to change a man, he's the problem. It only keeps him from solving the problem.
Yeah.
And so these are these wonderful ways to utilize and ask for. That we haven't gotten into it at all, but a big part of the book is learning how to ask for help, because women on their male side don't ask for help. They go, I can do it all myself. And then there's a lot of signals a man will give that says to a woman he doesn't want to help you. But actually, every man does. He just needs to be approached in the right way. These are like fun games that I've created, because we have to adjust to this new world where women are on their male side.
Yeah.
So what does a woman really need a man for? And that, this is called role reversal. And I do talk about that. My coaches also say this is their most popular book as well. They like my books, but it's called,
Of course they do.
it's called Why Mars and Venus Collide. Okay, so that's another very powerful coaching book for couples, Why Mars and Venus Collide. There was one other idea that I was just wanting to share. Oh, yeah, a technique. You wouldn't have thought of it. So this is a game. I have lots of games that couples can play together. And this is one called Genie in a Bottle. Okay, so the whole idea that you rub the bottle and a genie comes out. Okay, so this is a man. I look at it also from the point of view of if I go to a restaurant in my town, I'm very famous. I make reservations. When I arrive, they say, Dr. Gray, we're so happy you're here tonight. We've got your special table. They give me a free hors d'oeuvre and a glass of champagne, although I don't drink. But they want to do something special for me. Okay, so VIP service. So that's the name of this game, is VIP service. A woman explains to her husband, she says, I'm so stressed. I'm so amazed at you, how you can handle stress so much better. You can just relax, forget everything. I'm all over the place, and you can really help me if you do this one thing for me, and it will take 5 minutes. And we can start with just 5 minutes. Just that's all you need to do is I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to put my hand up, and that is a signal. I'm not even going to say anything. I'll just put my hand up. And now I'm going to ask you to do something that will take less than 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute, maybe 3 minutes. But I'm going to ask you to do it. And you're going to treat me like a VIP and stop what you're doing instantly with enthusiasm and do that thing for me. That's it. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, five, no more than 5 minutes. And I won't ask again for you to do that. Maybe next week I might ask again, whatever. But it has to be a surprise. It has to be just for a few minutes. And what it does, and it has to be something that she could do for herself, but she's asking him to do it for her. So this changes our whole brain. Okay, it activates all kinds of brain chemicals. It's just women would never ask a man to do something she can do for herself. But think about this. What is romance? What romance is when men do things for women that women can do for themselves, or they provide for her, like take her to a restaurant. Somebody's going to cook for her. She doesn't have to cook. That creates the hormones of romance, is whenever you're doing something. And if you do it right away, okay, it's even more of a estrogen surge that
Yeah.
I've got an alarm. He's there. It's like my fire alarm goes off and boom, they're right there. And what that does for him, knowing it's less than 5 minutes, it's easy. And yet he can have a big effect. What man doesn't want to have a big effect? And you can let him know what a big effect it is, because you go, that just felt so good. That's all. Don't overdo it. Just like that felt so good. Now, for her to know why this is so important is her brain does not have brakes. Now that she's on her male side, she's focused too much on solving problems. That's the male side of us, solving problems. But she doesn't have brakes because she's not designed that way, but she can still do it. So she has brakes. He can be her brakes. All she has to do is it's kind of like on one of those trains. You just pull the thing, the brakes happen. So she just puts up her hand, and instantly he will stop what he's doing, do this little thing for you. It would be make me a cup of tea. It would be get me a glass of warm water. Check out the movies for next weekend. Make reservations at this restaurant. Just something that takes less than 5 minutes and that you normally would just do for yourself. And so my book, I list 50 things you can ask for, but you can work it out.
Wow.
Little things. And you only ask once, and maybe the next week you can ask again. It's not like it can't be something you do all the time, because that causes something in the brain called habituation. If my wife asks me to do something like empty the trash, I always empty the trash. It doesn't make any dopamine. I've already habituated to it, and she's habituated to it. It's like, that's your job. You're supposed to do that. It has to be something that's not his job, other than and out of the blue, unexpected times. And there's something, I'm just curious, maybe you haven't seen this movie, but I'm seeing if you have the Peter Sellers movies. Did you ever know the guy Peter Sellers? No, you don't know. But it's in the West, it's a very funny show. It's called The Pink Panther. And he's
Pink Panther, sure.
That's Clouseau. So Peter Sellers is Clouseau in The Pink Panther. And he's like this investigator. But when he comes home, he has this assistant called Kato, who's a karate expert. And when he comes home, Kato will attack him. He'll just surprise him. And he does this in order to keep his fighting skills up, to be prepared whenever. So this is like, it's a playful thing. So she becomes Kato. She's going to ask you to do something and break your flow, whatever you're doing, you know. And just to give a fun example, it doesn't happen all the time this way, but when I'm in bed ready to fall asleep, my wife will walk in and she'll say, "Oh, John, would you get me a glass of warm water?" The last thing I want to do is to get up out of bed and get a glass of warm water. And it's actually 30 yards from my bedroom to get the
Yeah.
glass of purified water. Well, well, so one part of me says, I don't want to do it. But now I'm trained. I go, oh, this is going to make a big effect on her. Because it stops her brain. Because the woman's brain is like a snowball gathering snow.
Yeah.
That's momentum. And if he does something in just a couple of minutes, I'm doing something for you that you don't have to do, that you could do. That stops the momentum of a woman's brain going, I have to, I have to, I have to. Nope, you don't have to do that. And the momentum stops. And she will start to feel
So true. That's so true. Yes.
it's
Yes.
just profound. There's many, many other of these techniques in my new book that's coming out, but a lot of them are already in my book, Beyond Mars and Venus, which is about the hormones. But this goes beyond that, which is learning to be happy with or without a man. Because the essence of that book is when you have your own resources to be happy without depending on a man, then you can depend on a man for what a man can provide. Otherwise, you start looking to a man for everything. And
Yeah.
that puts too big of a burden, and then he gives you nothing. so it's like finding the right balance of what you can what men are good for, what men are not good for. And so that's like two of the chapters. It's like, what are they good for, what are they not good for, how to empower yourself, and then skills and tools, and then being able to learn how to process your emotions, because sometimes your just feelings are just locked into him, upset with him, and then you can't do a Venus talk about that. So you have a writing process, which helps you get in touch with your emotions. And then from there, you also begin practicing how to be upset about other things other than your husband. Because you have to think about upset is just a charge inside your body that builds up. Now you can dissipate that charge by saying, I don't like the government, or I'm frustrated with my kids, or I don't like the school, or the food's no good, or I don't want to go to that restaurant anymore, or my friend is mistreating me, or why would they say that? That all those complaints, expressing those emotions, are reducing the charge. And if you don't include him, you can reduce the whole charge. And then he was like ignoring you the other day, but there's no charge. He was giving somebody more attention. You were all jealous. Well, the jealousy would just go away. The charge on it goes away. And when the charge goes away, then you can ask for what you want and get it. And usually usually everything's fine. You know, we become less demanding. We become much happier. We become much more excusing of our partners, which I call accepting, which women are very accepting in the beginning because they don't have a history of that charge building up of, well, he didn't, this is the 5th time I've had to ask. He's forgotten 10 times. You see, he forgets once, there's no big deal. Forgets 10 times, that's a big deal. But actually what he forgot is not a big deal. It's a big deal because the charge builds up. So sharing about other problems helps to reduce the charge, which is what happens when a woman is able to share with a coach on a regular basis.